This is Roger Thunder, the Desert Shaman, your friendly desert shaman, doing a video today. If the light flickers, well, that's okay because it's bound to happen in this environment that I'm in here. I'm in my bunker. Is it doomsday yet? Wow, there's some really significant stuff going on out there. I just thought I would come on for a brief period of time here, since I say I do videos every 2 weeks. Well, it's been about 2 weeks, so I guess I'll come on and do a video. Guess I'll talk about, well, let's start off with the big one, okay, the whole thing with Ukraine and Russia and all that shit. Well, I saw a thing today. Now, I have my sources of intel. I have a myriad of things that come to me every day. And when I say my sources of intel, I'm not talking just about out there, but I'm talking about my own intuition and the downloads I get from higher source. So, as I scan my sources of intel, and I run the gamut. I mean, I don't look just at one thing. I look at all kinds of things. I look at world events on a natural level. I look at world events on a geopolitical level. I look at geopolitics, or no, what is it? Exopolitics. Which means all kinds of views from different angles about possibilities and current events and what's going on here and what's going on there. And I try to sort it out because everything is just one big fucking lie now. I mean, you can't even search for combat footage on what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and it's very hard to get a straight truthful report, okay, or videos or film, that type of thing. See, they no longer embed people with wars because they don't really want people to know what's going on. So anyway, I saw a report today in one of my little intel things that said that and I'm not trying to alarm anybody here. I mean, if you don't know what's happening by now, well, then it's about time you did. But this pushing for the big N word, the big nuclear word, they banner it around like they're eating a box of chocolates, you know. It's like, yeah, we'll just talk about this like it's an everyday occurrence, and we'll create a self-fulfilling prophecy here. So anyway, I saw an article today about the fact that, and it's a pretty reliable source, okay, the fact that America is sending its doomsday fleet up, okay, like, you know, Air Force One, only they have a contingency of strategists and warmongers and shit like that, and then they prepare for the president and whoever to be up in the air if any kind of conflict happens, and be able to push a button, you know, kind of like Catch-22, that movie. The brink of nuclear annihilation, you know. I laugh, but it's serious. I mean, see, there's the light again. It goes on and off. I apologize for that, but oh well. So I saw that little bit of information, yeah, that they're testing out their doomsday planes. Again, like Air Force One, stuff like that. Now, they might do that all the time, or they might just have been spotted doing that now. I have no idea. I'll just tell you what I see. I'm just telling you some stuff that I see, that I look at as reliable as it can be in the climate that we're in right now. So I saw another thing on the exopolitics, the geopolitical events happening in the space around us, in other words. So evidently I saw today that there were some UFOs spotted by the International Space Station, and they were, there was about, I saw the video, and I guess it's on NASA's site too. It's nothing they're trying to cover up, unless they actually are instigating it, which is a whole nother story. It could be that they're preparing for their false alien attack. Are there aliens? Well, of course there are, but are they going to attack Earth? Well, I bet right now the reason that I give this video that I saw today any credence is I bet right now if there are intergalactic entities, off-world or interdimensional or whatever you want to say, they're paying real close attention right now to what's going on Earth. And if there was any time that an alien was going to come down, or another group of people from other planets that are monitoring us, we're going to come down, this would be the time, because of the situation in Russia and Ukraine and the pushing action of the West. And basically the best way I can put it is that the powder keg has already blown up and the fire is spreading everywhere. It's spreading around the world. Make no mistake about it, we are in World War III. We haven't escalated it to the point of shooting nukes off at each other, but that could be imminent. The way things are going, it could be imminent, just so you know. I'm not betting on Russia starting anything. I think Putin has a pretty cool head. It's the West that keeps sending weapons. And oh, by the way, they're sending billions and billions of your taxpayer dollars in weapons to Ukraine, okay? I mean, I don't even know if I want to talk about the neo-Nazi aspect of that. Everything is FUBAR, fucked up beyond all recognition. When you got America sending money and arms and all kinds of resources, intel and military advisors and all that shit, when you got them sending stuff to like that to Ukraine, and when you got them ramping up all this shit, having other nations try to join NATO, like Sweden and Finland, and who are also on Russia's border, things, the word that I would put on that would be dicey. Very dicey. We're in a very dicey time right now. So just be aware of what's going on. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this, probably did already, but even when I, as a interested observer, let's say I'm not taking sides. Let's just say I'm an interested observer. I'm interested in the art of war. I have read that book cover to cover several times and pondered on it, looking at what different strategies might be. I'm just an interested observer looking at the conflict over there and the interplay between the nations. And in my observations, I do try to search out relevant combat footage to see what's going on in the ground. I'm telling you right now, the propaganda is so bad that they even try to manipulate combat footage, or they have guys coming on YouTube and not giving any reference to where the combat footage came from, and you see a tank getting blown up or this and that, or you see a massive destruction somewhere, well, there's always a spin, and the spin seems to be, for the most part, towards Ukraine. Oh, those are the good guys. I call them on it when I see it. I make a comment right away. If you're going to have combat footage, you have footage that has descriptions in it and has relevant subheadings or translation from Russian into English, that type of thing. And you don't just come on there and go, oh, this is what this is. Well, anybody can say that. And there's a bunch of neo-Nazis right here in America. Okay? There's a bunch of them. Okay? Not only in the government, but in the populace as well. Okay? So just know that. Just know that that is a fact. Because I watch some of their channels and I see how they report on combat footage and stuff like that. So you're hard-pressed to get any kind of real intel right now. You're hard-pressed. You have to really search and dig, and you have to use your intuition, and you have to look at history. You have to look at the history of the conflict in Ukraine and how that all played out. And I've done videos on this, so you kind of know my position on it. You can't just take things at face value anymore. You have to dig, dig, dig. Okay? And so when I come on here and I give you information, that means I did a whole lot of digging, because I don't like putting out any kind of false information. And I've done a whole lot of pondering and reflecting and analyzing. So, pretty much you can take to the bank what I say, but then again, don't take anything to the bank about what anybody says. So, even me, okay, do your own research if you feel you have the need to, or if you're into that kind of thing. I'm into it. I'm into this I'm into history, I'm into archaeology, I'm into the why of things, why things are happening at this particular time, and how they came about. I've done scores of videos on all kinds of insight into that. So you only need go back and look in my archives. But I would say right now that there are just myriads and myriads of things going on the planet. I mean, even on the natural level, you've got erratic weather everywhere, including right here where I am. Erratic weather, changing from 30 degrees from day to day, and lots of wind, and just snowstorms in weird places, volcanoes erupting, rivers overflowing, rainstorms in the Sahara Desert, freak hailstorms, freak tornadoes with weird vortexes that make no sense whatsoever. That could be weather wars. Oh, and then you got this whole thing with Musk, too. Let's not leave that out. You got the Musk thing where he's, on one hand, he's a good guy because he wants to restore free speech on Twitter and all this. But on the other hand, people like myself who think and research see that he put like 1,000 satellites and wants 4,000, like a web around the Earth. Okay? And Russia just accused him of giving intel or electronic equipment to Ukraine. So you see things like that and you go, well, where is this guy coming from? Is he a good guy or a bad guy, or is he just playing a role of a good guy, which is done often, just like Trump played the role of a good guy? Turns out sometimes what people think may not be true, okay? May not be true. Be careful of what you buy into. Be careful of the stuff you watch, especially the mainstream media, and even Fox News. Sorry, all you Fox fans out there. The only person that I will really give any credence to is maybe Tucker Carlson, who actually came out and said something against the Ukraine war, kind of put it on the line. So I appreciate any time I hear things like that. That whole Musk thing could just be a distraction to get your mind, just like the Johnny Depp trial and all that stuff. That could just be a distraction to get your mind off what the fuck they're really doing. So that's kind of what's happening right now. I mean, there's a million other things that are happening right now, and it seems to be quickening to me anyway. Oh, and let's not leave out the supply chain and the food shortage thing, and meat's going up, skyrocketing, other goods just skyrocketing, gas prices, and of course you got this nutcase in the White House telling everybody that it's all the fault of Russia, when really it's their fault for imposing sanctions and causing grain shipments and oil shipments and other foods, and even what do you call it? Even chips for computers, even uranium, you name it. A whole bunch of shit comes out of Russia, okay? And they knew this. This all fits in right in with the, we're going to destroy the infrastructure of America, because they used the pandemic to start that off, destroying small businesses and locking people down and just basically decimating the economy. Followed up by a war where we're sending billions and billions of dollars over to a country that most people in America can't find on the map. If their life depended on it, they couldn't even find it on the map. Half of them can't even spell it. Ukraine, okay? Yet they got flags out there on their front lawns and this and that, and just going along like lemmings, okay, into doomsday. Doomsday could be now, I'm not trying to alarm anybody here, but just look at what's going on. That's all you got to do, is just look what's going on around you. Look at the so-called leaders out there with their rhetoric. I mean, every other fucking word is nuclear this and nuclear that. Russia hasn't said that one time, but the West has said it many, 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 many times. Be careful what you put out in the universe, because that shit's going to come back to you. Thought is creative. In case you didn't know it, collective consciousness is creative. Let's just swap the collective consciousness and put that in everybody's mentality. This shit is very, very obvious as to what they're doing. It's very obvious. If you have two brain cells that you can rub together, okay? We got the wildfires going too, the food shortages, the the food factories all having problems, burning down, and I can't tell you how many food factories have been set on fire. I can't tell you how many farmers are complaining right now that they can't even make a profit anymore because there's no fertilizer, for one thing, coming in anymore. That came from Russia. You don't think all this is planned? All these events, I mean, you can go from one crisis to another right now. And 2 crises ago, you can't even remember what that crisis was. And what is that for? Well, that's to instill fear and anxiety and ramp up. There's a few voices in the wilderness. There's a few Republicans speaking out right now about the war in Ukraine, sending all that money. We're $30 trillion in debt, and there's people living on the streets, and we're sending $70 billion to Ukraine. If people just sat down and asked themselves, what the fuck do we have to do with Ukraine? What does that have to do with us? On a level that they present themselves as, Congress has to declare war, and they circumvent that by using a proxy nation like Ukraine to bring Russia down. And make no mistake about it, they have outright said that they want to bring Russia to its knees and Putin to his knees, and they want a regime change. Same old thing. Same old story. The regime change for the betterment of humanity. A sovereign nation yet that is a nuclear power. Wow, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? You got morons running the show here. You got frat brats. You got people that think they know what they're doing and they don't. To qualify as a leader, number one, you can't be a baby and throw tantrums and do really stupid things without thinking about it, without thinking about the consequences. Where do they think they're going to go if there's a nuclear conflagration? Where do they think they're going to go? In their bunkers? Or maybe they got an off-planet site, which is entirely possible. Or maybe they got other plans in mind. But what about the average citizen like you and me? What do they got planned for us? Well, it's obvious that they really don't give a shit, do they? Think about it. They don't give a shit about you. Now, if you had, if you had any warrior spirit at all, by this time some red lights and red flags and all this stuff would be going on. And they should be if you're a warrior, but most people don't have the red lights and red flag. They're just dumb, okay? Unfortunately, humanity as a whole, for the most part, for the large percentage, okay, the majority of people buy into shit. They just do what they're told. They just follow orders. Well, follow orders to your grave. Follow them to your grave, because that's where you're going to end up. The planet will be fine. Be better off without all these goings on down here, rockets going through the air and missiles and people being blown up and one nation pushing another nation into a corner so that they feel they have to do this and that. I'm telling you, people, The powder keg has been blown and the fire is spreading. The resultant fire from the powder keg is involving the whole world right now. Everybody's going off. Okay, you got the guy in North Korea over there going off. Kim Jong-il or whatever his name is. I can't remember exactly. I know it very well, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. You got that guy, and then you got guys like Boris Johnson in the UK saying, yeah, we should nuclear weapons could be an option here. Oh, really, Brainbox? I mentioned that in my last video, so I don't want to repeat myself here, but this is kind of where we're standing right now in the stream of time. Like I said, man, and I've been saying this before, I've been saying this before, that you're going to see another intervention here. This is going to be, I have a feeling that this summer is going to be momentous. It's going to be hot, figuratively, not, I hope it isn't too hot physically here in the desert. I got my pool being set up, though, out back here, so I'm ready for, hell, if we're going to go, we might as well go in style, right? I don't know. I guess that's about all I got to say. I fulfilled my purpose of doing a video here. Just remember, there is a supreme intelligence. Okay? That's what you want to hook up with, the supreme consciousness. Come from the heart with love. Hook up with that supreme consciousness that permeates the universe and is, you are as much a part of it as it is you. Just hook up with that and put out the kind of thoughts that you want to change this situation, or the kind of prayers that you want. Whatever you put out there is okay. It needs to be put out there. So I would suggest doing that. I would suggest to try to have somewhat of a detached consciousness about everything. It's all put in play right now, and basically it's a chaotic mess right now, and so let it swirl around you. You know, be like in the eye of the hurricane. Don't get in the wall. Don't get in the wall. Even when I do my intel, and even when I do these videos, I try to remain detached, although sometimes I do get emotional. Obviously, I do get emotional sometimes, and I also get to this point where I want to tell my fellow man what I know, so that he's not hoodwinked and led to the slaughter, you know, at least unknowingly. At least he knows he's being led to the slaughter, whatever. Not much we can do about it unless everybody changes their consciousness and changes their motivations and actions and how they view the world. It's got to the point now where complacency has brought about a plague of villains, okay, that have instituted themselves into leadership positions around the world. And they all have different agendas, and they all think their agenda's right, when the real agenda should be for humankind. We'll see how it plays out. I'm hoping that, I'm just hoping for the best, let's put it that way. I'm hoping for the best. That's all you can do, and so I'll leave that I'll leave it on that note today. Adios.